This is Courtney Gaines, Malachi from Children of the Corn. You're listening to the Tim and... Oh, I blew it! You're listening to the Timo and Harley Show. All right.
Welcome to the Timo and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to the Timo and Harley Show. I am Timo. Over there is my partner in mind crime, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben, hop along, Harley.
Hey, Timo, what's up, my man?
How you doing?
How'd you know?
I know all. I know all. Okay,
That's right. I've been keeping that under my 10-gallon hat for a while.
I hear you. So, lots of stuff going on, Mr. Ben Harley. Let's see, the 30th, you got another wrestling event coming up there. Where is that out?
Up, buddy. Toledo, Ohio, there at the, excuse me, buddy. At, what the heck is that place called? St. Clemens Hall.
St. Clemens Hall.
Tremainsville. Yeah, in Toledo, Ohio.
All right.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Toledo,
yeah, a huge sticking point in the War of 1812, Toledo, Ohio.
That's right.
When's bell time?
5 o'clock, buddy. Yep. Doors open at 4. Yeah.
All right. So the 30th at St. Clemens Hall, Toledo. Bell time,
yes,
5 o'clock. Get there at 4 so you can get your beverages and your what else they got there? Yeah,
popcorns,
hot dogs,
pulled pork, hot dogs,
pulled
pork sandwiches. Yeah,
wow. Pulled barbecue pork or just salt?
Yeah.
Oh,
nice. Yeah,
All
you might even be able to get yourself a pulled pork nachos.
Ooh,
set of nachos. There.
Wait a minute, pulled pork nachos?
Yeah, you get some nachos with pulled pork and some cheese drizzled on the top.
Okay, all right, that sounds healthy.
So I try to eat one of those before I go out and have a heart attack.
Oh, thank you, St. Clemens, the patron saint of hardening arteries. All right.
Exactly.
Yes. Nice. All right. Well, you got that
good show,
on?
Timo. Yeah, we'll be defending our belts.
Right.
Some say we are not deserving of them.
Well, you acquired them, so they're yours.
That's right. Exactly. 9/10 of the law, my friend.
That's right.
My lawyer says so.
That's what I heard. I saw a post. I know it.
Yes.
Yeah. It's got to be true.
Yeah, very excited. Very excited about this next one, Timo. So they can't take that win away from us,
No.
And, I think, like they says, we're like folk heroes, Timo. More than anything. Yeah.
I understand. I understand.
Some call us criminals, but I've also heard that some folk heroes started out as criminals.
They did.
Hey,
Most all of them did. Most all of them did. So
there you go. So
well, Hero
Harley.
A
song about us real soon, right, Tim?
Right.
Yeah.
So folk hero Harley. All right.
There you go. I like the ring of that.
Yeah.
I got Hall of Famer Harley.
I got all kinds of stuff for you, Harley. I'm telling you right now.
Hop along.
So,
yeah.
Let's see here. Well, I got in the space-time continuum. As you hear this, it'll be done. I'll probably if you listen to this on Sunday when we drop the show, probably driving back. But we have Ultraman has a big show up in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Chi-Town. So we're doing at the Liars Club with the Bow Weevils.
Oh, nice.
Hot Lips Messiah is also playing.
Okay.
A couple other groups are playing. So it should be a good time. And speaking of Chicago, Mr. Ben Harley, the NFL season started. My Packers beat the Chicago Bears.
Oh, the Bears?
Yeah. Boy, it was one of those games. One of those games where they weren't supposed to win. It looked like it was over. And then Aaron Rodgers limps back out onto the field and there you go.
Puts it away, huh? Takes it home. Nice.
Yep. So the NFL season has started. And of course, I'm a little sore, Mr. Ben Harley, because I took a knee. And I watched.
Did you?
Yeah. So,
boy.
But you know what, Ben Harley, we're never going to win this thing because the world's insane. The world's insane. So it's like, just shut up and play football for crying out loud. Yeah. And I don't mean anything like, I'm not trying to stop someone's message. Their message has been lost. It's like, you're preaching to the choir, people aren't listening. And we need to get over that stuff these days. We need to get over it.
Well, you just come over and watch hockey where they stand for 2 national anthems.
Yeah, well, I got enough going on with football. I don't want to see that. Anyway, but no, it was okay. It was an okay week. You know, it's the first week of the season. It's always a little clumsy and stuff. So I'm going to stick with it. I'm not a boycotter. I'm not this or that. So don't get me wrong. But I do just want it to go away and start the games. And let's get our escapism. You know, people need that. It's not that it isn't important.
That's what it's there for.
It's not that they're not important issues. We need this. We need some kind of escape where we can all come together and remember that, you know, hey, we don't hate each other, okay? Right. And if you keep
just hate the other team, that's all.
Right. Well, if you keep building those walls, things aren't going to get much better. So anyway, moving on. Speaking of all that, Mr. Ben Harley, out of the past came a name for me, Mr. Ben Harley. A friend from grade school, believe it or not, Mr. Pete Newell.
Oh yeah,
Mr. Pete Newell. Yeah, when I moved around when I was a kid, my whole family's from the St. Louis area, but my dad moved around for his job for a bit when I was a kid. Yeah. So I went to a couple different schools, and when I came back to the area here, I went from Central Illinois. Well, I went from Central Illinois to St. Louis, and the kids were different here. Let's just put it that way. I had to start fitting in what you do when you go to a new school and stuff, you know. So Pete was probably my only friend, especially when I first got here. My only real friend, you know. So it's the first friend I made and everything. So I never forgot him and always, you know, liked the guy and everything. So he gets a hold of me. He wants to do a podcast. Okay. So we got together for lunch and talked about it. Now he wants to do an NBA podcast. So pretty interesting.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, it would be interesting. Yeah. So, but it was nice. It was a nice lunch, and then he came back to Dormal Ridge, checked out where the magic happens. Yeah, nice. So it's good to see Pete. I'd like to say hi to him, and hopefully we'll get together again soon and chill out a little bit.
Wish him luck with his podcast, and he came to the right man, the podcast guru, Timo.
Except when he asked what other podcasts you listen to, I go, none. I think I've heard two other episodes of one or two. I just don't listen to him, you know, so I make him. Yeah. I don't.
Right.
I just.
You make the magic,
Tim. That's right. I don't get it. I don't get the spells put on me. I put the spells on. Yeah. Yeah. So, but big announcement here, Mr. Ben Harley. Big announcement. Next week. Yes. We are going to have our pal and returning guest, Mr. Mark, the Fresh Prince of Darkness Diamond from the Dwarves. Yeah, he's going to be on the show. We're going to talk about some Primal Rage, the newest Bigfoot movie directed by Patrick McGee.
Yeah, I'm trying to watch Primal Rage. I don't know. There was some kind of transmission fluctuation, gyro something going wrong. Gotcha. It was
technical difficulties in watching the streaming movie, which is unheard of. Just unheard of, Mr. Ben Harley. Yeah.
Like at one point, Timo had told me, it'll be available in 109 hours. I don't even know how many days that is.
Do you have that long to live?
I'm like, yeah, seriously. Right. How much do you expect a man to take, Timo? So, yeah, we'll see. Right. I'll get back to you on that one.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Apple iTunes.
Right. Let's see. So that's coming up next week. Going to get to what we watched here. I'm jumping around a little bit here, but getting back to your wrestling thing, I did watch the last match, Mr. Ben Harley, and you might have yourself an assault case.
I think so. I was assaulted numerous times.
You were not a legal participant in the wrestling match, were you?
No, sir. I was just there to give my clowns a fair shake.
Yeah. All I know is that old Hot Lips Waymer.
Oh yeah.
He came after you, and it
looked. Tried to come at me.
Shook the whole building. It did.
It sure did.
You got assaulted there. So I think that I don't think that was.
We
right.
might have another case.
I think you got a couple cases here. Yeah. I think when you walked in the building, all of a sudden you were accosted 6 times. Right. That you could go to the courts for. So.
Yeah, then that Norm Whaler come at me, and I'm not about to soil my hands on a mindless brute like that.
Right.
So, you know, and I'm a gentleman first and foremost. And he just came unglued.
Well, you don't have any problem soiling your trousers for a brute like that, though. But it seems like, and you can probably sue for that too. New pair of underwear,
right.
If you were wearing underwear.
Yeah.
So, it's been fun.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a fun match. I tell you, it was just insane. There was a lot going on. And another one of those days where I'm like, I just can't believe I'm a part of this. And then watching it on tape and seeing the wreckage that was left over and knowing that I was a part of a short little part of that just made me warm inside. Does that say something about me?
I don't know.
Is there something, a character flaw or something?
I don't know. Your opponents that evening were very, very adept at doing the rubber leg. That's for sure. So,
yes, sir. They were very rubber-legged.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw that wanted poster, Timo, that's been floating around.
I've seen it.
Yeah. They're very, I think it was well put, very bewildered, beaten, bloodied, bewildered, and very distraught, Timo.
I hear you.
Those ex-champs, as I like to call them.
Yeah.
So,
definitely.
So.
All right.
Thank you, Timo. Yes. Very much a lot of horror in the wake of that match, left in the wake.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
let's move into stuff we watched this week, Mr. Ben Harley. I got a couple things here to run through real quick. First up, from 2017. Holy cow. That's a new one.
That definitely is. That's the future for you.
That's right. I watched Blade Runner 2049.
Okay. Now, is that with, what's his name?
Ryan Gosling?
Yeah.
And Harrison Ford. Yeah, Harrison Ford's in it also. It's long. Oh, Lord doggy ding dongs, is it long? Yeah. But I actually liked it more than Blade. I have an issue with Blade Runner, and the issue is I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I try to like it. I got it on Blu-ray. I've got all different cuts of it. I've got everything I can think of. I just don't like it. This is missing something to me. To be fair, I enjoyed this more. It's slow. Let me put it this way. The first one
really kind of was.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Let's put it this way. It's paced. Okay. It allows itself to reveal itself. Yeah.
Is Harrison Ford reprising his role?
Yes, he's Deckard.
Okay.
Yeah. He is again. Cool. Yeah. So it's a definite sequel to the first one. You got to kind of pay attention a little bit because they let you know what's happening through idle conversation through the characters. So you really have to kind of pay attention.
Oh boy, I'm out.
I mean, not that it's super confusing. It's just it's a little grandiose, so you got to kind of pay attention to it. It was okay. I wasn't upset I watched it. I did watch it in one setting, but I did take like a Saturday or something to watch it, a whole day. But, not too bad. I mean, I would recommend it if you're interested in seeing it. I didn't think it was terrible. I thought it was made, fairly well. The story is fairly compelling.
Okay.
I don't know. It's okay. It's all right.
Any hot face painted girls in it? Like girl handlers?
Yeah, a little bit, but awful, yes, there is. But it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not that like robots have or whatever they are now have gone way ahead of where the first Blade Runner movie was and stuff. So it's set in the future as it should be. So the future as where Blade Runner was the future. This is the future.
Okay.
Far future. Yes. Let's see here. Moving on. Not too bad though. Not too bad. It's okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Moving on from 1944, Angio and I watched The Woman in the Window.
Oh.
Yeah, with
you guys could get in trouble for that.
That's right. With Edward G. Robinson, Raymond Massey, Joan Suspiria Bennett.
Oh.
And directed by a Mr. Fritz Lang.
Fritz Lang. Yeah. Okay.
Very good suspense movie. It drove Angie nuts. From 1944, she was more scared watching that movie than I've seen her in a movie for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah. Nice. It's a very tense, suspenseful film. Very good, though. Very good. Woman in the Window, 1944. Let's see. A couple documentaries here that were pretty good. One, these are both on Amazon Prime.
Okay, bye. Lay it on me.
One is Flesh and Blood, The Hammer Heritage of Horror. So this was a long, like 2 hour, little over 2 hour documentary about Hammer films.
I think I saw some of that, buddy. I think
might have. It's looked
to me
on
Amazon Prime.
Yes, it's on Amazon Prime. Yeah, it looked to me like they spliced and edited together some mini documentaries I used to watch about Hammer.
Okay,
so they took old footage and re-edited it together into something a little more streamlined, a little bit.
Yeah,
not too bad. Not too bad. The thing that stuck out to me was when they talked a little bit about Peter Cushing, and believe it or not, Mr. Ben Harley, they started talking about how he handles things like I do, like a beaker and stuff.
I did see this. Because then he say something, and I'm sorry not to cut you off, because I wanted to mention this to you last show, actually, because they meant something about him not wanting to touch the stuff, right, until he actually was acting in front of it, right? Or something like that.
His nickname was Props Peter.
Props Peters, that's right. Yeah.
Props Peter, because he he would get on it, and then that was his thing. He could take a prop and he would just manipulate the prop, and the prop was like half of his acting. And stuff. So I was correct again. See, I am a very astute student of film.
And Peter Cushing.
Yes, exactly right. Let's see here. Well, not too bad. Not too bad. Flesh and Blood, the Hammer Heritage of Horror.
I meant to mention that to you, Timo. So, I have seen. It is a long one, too.
It's pretty. Well, it's a little over 2 hours. It is. Yeah. I'm telling you, it's edited. I have other versions of this, longer, actually, but they're cut up into like 20-minute, half-hour segments.
Yeah, okay.
So moving on.
Nice.
Let's see.
Moving on, my friend.
Another one, a brand new documentary. Now, this one I wasn't too sure if I was going to watch because I get a little fatigued with this sometimes, but I did, and I'm glad I did. Okay. It's a film called Greetings from Tromaville.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so ironically, this documentary is better than all the movies they produced.
Most of their movies, yeah.
Well, it's interesting to see look, Lloyd Kaufman's an interesting guy.
Oh, yeah. He's an interesting little fella.
He's exhausting. He's an exhausting personality, but he's funny. He's very funny. Yeah. I did not know he's a Yale graduate.
I know, isn't that something?
Yeah. So that's interesting. But what was funny is I'm watching this thing, and they took footage from a couple of conventions and just various different places where they were interviewing Lloyd and some of the actors and crew and stuff from the Troma films. And one of the things that kept cutting into is a panel that he was on at a convention called Shock Stock, and I believe this is in Canada. And right next to Lloyd Kaufman is sitting a good pal of ours named Danny Hicks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
Sitting right there.
Daniel Hicks.
That's right. Sitting next to him. And actually texted Danny, and he said, I think I remember that in Canada. I said, yeah. He's like, oh, of course, Danny was like, I didn't even know who the guy was, but we had a good time. We had a real good time. So Danny needs his assistant Timo around to remind him.
Tell him who's who. Yeah,
exactly.
It's Harley, Danny. It's Harley.
Yeah, right.
Ben Harley. Remember, we do a podcast.
Right. That's Bruce Campbell. Danny. Yeah, that's Bruce. That right there. That guy. No, that's not Christopher Robin. That's Sam Raimi. That's Sam Raimi. Okay, so
nice.
But that was kind of fun to see him. Went back and watched two movies, Mr. Ben Harley. I know both of us have seen, so I wanted to run through them real quick. And first up, from 1997, watched the film Anaconda.
Oh yeah,
yes,
Anaconda.
Couple things about Anaconda.
J-Lo in it.
Yes, and here's a couple of things about it. J-Lo is unrecognizable.
I know, and she looks so different.
Yes, no chance in hell that was plastic surgery.
Not in a bad way. She's cute back then.
She was cute back then, but it was sort of like she was kind of a plain Jane back then a little bit, and it just was bothering me the whole movie. I'm like, who is this? It's not as much fun. It wasn't as much fun this time, and I enjoyed this movie. I don't love it, but it's just a weird kind of movie.
I remember it being okay. And, you know, I'm trying to think, Timo, I might have seen that in the theater. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I remember it was okay. But, the computer generated, snake is just,
And that's the other thing I wanted to get to, because watching it, I kind of forgot how much practical effects there are. There's not that much CG. Yeah. And I thought it was almost all CG from my memory banks, okay?
Yeah.
But the problem is that the practical snake, it's not easy to make a practical snake. Okay. It's not easy to do. As we've seen. Yeah. As we've seen in other films, with snakes in them. And the other thing too, is that when they cut it back and forth, the CG is so asylum CG, like so terrible. It's so not seamless. Right. It's very, very troublesome. Now, I always had a problem with the effects in this, but I was impressed that there was more practical than I remembered. And yet I was more disappointed in the film itself and the practical effects that were just, they weren't bad. I shouldn't really bitch about the practical effects. Snakes are snakes. They're not easy. It's just hard to animate a snake. They're not real emotive. They just kind of,
This guy slithered around.
Yeah, they kind of slither to and fro. So, but it was okay. It was okay. Like I said, just a little disappointed because I've always thought of it as a fun film, and is what it is.
Ice Cube's in that too, right?
Ice Cube is in that, and Jon Voight is in it.
Yeah,
and Danny Trejo is also in it. Wow. And who else is in it? Owen Wilson.
Oh wow,
in it. Carrie Werner. If you remember her,
I think so.
Let's see, and then Eric Stoltz, and one of the oddest characters in film history. He gets like stung by some kind of moth or some bullshit down his throat, and then he spends the rest of the movie laying down in a bed. Now, why the snake didn't find him to be easy pickings through this whole movie is beyond me, Mr. Ben Harley. That always bothered me too. That always came back. But anyway, it wasn't horrible. It's just sometimes I really enjoy watching this. This time just didn't hold up. So maybe it's not holding up well after.
It's been a long time since I've seen that.
Well, it's 20 years old. Yeah. So it's 21 years old. It's been
15 years since I've seen it, right?
It's very, I think the reason that I've seen it, and it's very accessible. It's always a cheap Blu-ray. You can always find it on Prime or something, so
sure.
It's easy to look at, easy to watch, but it is what it is. Another nature gone amok movie, Mr. Ben Harley. Last and certainly not least from 1978. Watch the Joe Dante opus Piranha.
Piranha.
Yes.
Right.
Starring Bradford Dillman. Kevin McCarthy. Keenan Wynn.
Love me some Keenan
Belinda
Wynn.
Balaski. Some howling people.
Yeah.
Some people he cherry-picked to get into the howling film. Dick Miller. Yes.
In every movie.
That's right. Written by John Alligator Seals. Seals. Listen to me. Seals. I'm all water. I'm all aquatic right now. You know what I'm saying? John Sayles.
You're waterlogged.
Yeah. Even Sales is aquatic.
Yeah.
So, but this was fun going back and watching this.
Was it?
Yeah. Piranha is a fun movie. It's a fun little movie.
I was gonna watch it here. I know it's on Prime right now, and I was thinking about going back and watching it. I've been dabbling, hovering over it. So I'm probably going to go back here because I do like Piranha. Mm-hmm. It wasn't one that I watched all the time when I was younger, but like I said, it's still that was the first movie I saw someone die with their eyes open. Oh. It freaked me out. Mm-hmm. Freaked me out. I was like, that doesn't happen, does it?
Well, you got to like this movie because it's the reason The Howling was made. So
good. Well, God bless it then.
Dante got to make The Howling thanks to the success of this film. So
yeah, good
stuff though. Enjoyed watching that. What you got, Mr. Ben Harley? You got anything?
Yeah. Well, you know what, Timo? Let me reach into my bag of tricks here.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh, wait a second. Now. Hold on pal. Timo, yes. Besides my wrestling prowess, now I got to fit a few things in here, buddy. Real quick, Timo, I got something I watched. Sydney and I have also been watching a few things together. I did finally, me, Timo, I'm only about 10 years behind on most stuff. Mm-hmm.
Right.
My style, my clothes,
right.
Haircut.
Yeah.
But
your operating system.
Yeah, pretty much. I did want to mention though, we did watch Cars 2. Okay, so I have not. that far behind. I know Cars 3s have been out for probably a little while now too. But reason I wanted to mention this, Sydney and I watched a little bit of it together. I did kind of enjoy it. I like the first Cars, good movie. This one reminds me more of like a James Bond film starring Mater, which is okay. But one of the reasons I wanted to mention it, a couple of the voices in there, one being one of your favorites, Franco Nero.
Yes, Franco Nero.
Yeah, he's in there. And also somebody we just mentioned, Mr. Bruce Campbell.
That's right.
Also appears in Cars too. So I thought that was neat. And,
Mr. Bruce Campbell is also the voice for the wicked mayor in Claudia the Chance for Meatballs. Either the first or the second one. I can't remember, but he's also the wicked mayor in that movie as well. Yeah.
Good for him.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah. So it was fun for her and I to watch that.
Sure.
So we've already mentioned the potentate of hate, so we'll brush him out of there. Real quick, Tim, I've been watching some more of the Toledo story stuff here, buddy. And, I would like to mention, it was really kind of cool. I watched one on a gentleman here from in town, and he was like one of the first like newsreel guys where he actually like bought a camera. Hey, out of the newspaper, be a newsreel guy. You know, this is back in the early 1900s, and stuff. And, but what was kind of neat about this, a lot of the stuff that I was showing was stuff that we've seen. I know you've seen over the years. You know, a lot of it were on old footage of, bloopers. And there's the one famous one of the guys like got ice skates on and he has a rocket on his back, supposedly, these little rockets. And he goes skating off and the thing explodes. He doesn't kill him or nothing.
Right.
But it's funny. I was watching these reels and I'm like, man, I've seen these so many times over the years. And a lot of them were from Toledo in this area. And I was like really surprised. And what the guy would do, though, he would just go out there and find little things or he'd make up news. What?
What? Whoa.
Wait a second.
So let me sit down and think about this for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep talking.
How little things have changed onto it.
Yeah.
But he would do something stupid like cat like takes over, coop of hens, to,
right.
And what he would do, he'd get like some eggs and put them in a thing and then have the cat come over and sit by him with the chicks. And then he'd get it. He's like, well, I got to get a picture of it coming out and going back in. So they take some bacon grease and get it to come out. And then they spray some bacon grease and have the thing go back in. I'm like, and there it is, but it's like a lot of that stuff was really funny. Like he would take his grandma and, this lady ran with Annie Oakley, and she'd be like shooting cigarettes out of people's mouths and stuff. It's like 100-year-old lady.
A smoking Nazi.
Yeah, but then they'd have a guy in the background, way in the back with a rifle, actually. Like, good thing he was a good shot. But all these things, I was like, wow, it was really funny because I'd seen most of these over the years. And it was cool to know that some of them were right from here in town.
Absolutely.
So, one thing I think you would like, Timo, about Toledo stories, I don't know how much of a jazz guy you are. But I watched a little one on Art Tatum. And Art Tatum, I've known about him for years. They have Art Tatum jazz festivals here. But I didn't really know a lot about his story. And he was from Toledo. He was legally blind, but they did fix one of his eyes when he was a kid. So he could see partially out of it.
So then he was illegally blind after that?
Yes. Gotcha. Very, Got arrested a lot. A lot. Yeah.
Kept walking to his right. Yeah.
So, but it was really kind of cool to see a story on him. He was very famous, probably one of the most famous jazz pianists. Of all time. And it was kind of cool to see other people he was in one movie, and they had Benny Goodman and all this, and they all showed them. And it's the Fabulous Dorsey's movie.
Oh, okay.
He's actually in that, and they show them go, let's go see a real musician, and they go to this little club, and then Art Tatum's playing.
Gotcha.
But they were showing some of the stuff that he was doing, and it was just mind-boggling. The stuff the guy was capable of. But I thought that was very interesting. And I kind of was like, not mad at myself, but I'm like, you know what? I should probably have known a little bit more about that. But I've enjoyed these Toledo stories. Some of them are really good. Like I said, some of them if you want to take a nap, you go to sleep to them.
And that's on your local. That's on your local PBS. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But some really interesting stuff. So
we have St. Louis. Yes, we have St. Louis things on our local PBS too that are fairly interesting sometimes. Well, I guess they're fairly interesting. I don't watch them, so
yeah. I know how big with St. Louis and the blues and jazz and stuff.
That's true. Yeah,
that you maybe might have heard of him down there somewhere. Maybe you ask Tim. You ask that.
I'll ask around.
Cakewalking jazz band when you see him next. Right. All right. All right, Timo. Real quick, I'm gonna go through these real fast. Okay. Very excited. My first favorite band, television show I've been taping, the Monkees.
Oh, yikes.
Monkees are on. Yeah, I've been taping. They're fun. I liked the Monkees a lot when I was a kid, and I got it. It's slapstick. Some of it's way over the top. Some of it's really good.
Right.
I think some of it was way ahead of its time as far as music video, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've actually really enjoyed watching it, but it's kind of funny because boy, do they get a lot of use out of Daydream Believer.
Yeah.
And this is the second season I've been watching. And
what's it on? What's it on? What are you watching it on?
You know what, Timo? Phooey, buddy. It's it just came out. So I think it's a new channel on DirecTV.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'll get back to you, but I apologize.
That's okay.
Because I was taping, I think I told you, One Day at a Time and Barney Miller.
Really?
On there.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I was taping those too and watching them.
Are you cheating on MeTV? Whoa.
A little bit, maybe.
You got to pay for that. You're not supposed to pay for that stuff. Now,
I know.
Come on now. Come on. It's more fun to watch on the snooty antenna. We both know this.
Well, I know. I wanted to pick your ear about a new antenna. So
okay.
I need to get,
All right.
But yeah, so real quick though, the Monkees, good stuff in watching it. They had a really good one on the other day with Ruth Buzzy. And they were doing like this. And you would know the gentleman who was in it. I can't remember his name. Old little creepy guy. Not that you know a bunch of creepy dudes, but
I know who they are.
Right, exactly. So how you stay away from them.
Yeah, right.
But an old character actor, and what the premise of the show was, like the Monkees just like wake up in the middle of the night, and this guy's like performing a seance, and and basically the guy's a charlatan. He's trying to take Ruth Buzzy for her money, and the Monkees are involved. But they get this big guy, and I don't know who he was. He looked sort of familiar. I don't think it wasn't Lurch, unless they gave him a black wig, but it just didn't really. It could have been him. Anyways, they got a big creepy goony guy in there and stuff, but they did a scene with Davy Jones and this creepy henchman guy who's like twice the size of Davy Jones, wide and tall. But they do this little skit, and I swear to God, Timo, it's like very early Young Frankenstein. They don't, the putting on the Ritz. They do a little skit like where him and the monster are dancing. They're like on vaudeville hats and stuff. And I was like, wow. I mean, it's not the same thing. He doesn't have the henchman's not going, or anything. Right. It's not the same.
Right.
But kind of. I was like, wow, that was pretty cool. And I don't ever remember that from before. So it's kind of neat. And it was cool. It had some cool little spooky stuff in it, but I have enjoyed the show. I watched one this morning. That was funny. They did like a Western thing where they had Ben Cartwheel and his sons, basically were trying to take over Michael Nesmith's aunt's ranch, and it was like a, kind of little Western thing. It was pretty funny.
Right.
But one thing I have enjoyed is you can tell when Mike Nesmith, who is my favorite monkey, you can tell when Mike Nesmith must have been
Mine's
mad.
Curious George, but let's not split hairs.
Right. But you might, it's funny because I'm like, Nesmith must have been fighting with them at this time, because I swear to God, I was watching the one where they get on a ship, and they go out to sea, and they all four get on the ship. But then all of a sudden, Mike Nesmith basically disappears in one scene and is not seen for the rest of the episode. And I actually went back and was like, wait a second, did they say something that he didn't get on the ship? I'm like, no, he got on the ship. But it's happened in a couple of episodes where like, where the hell did Mike Nesmith go all of a sudden? And then he might reappear, or they'll have a video at the end. He's in the video. So it's like, I think that was about the about the ending of it there. But I remember he was with him because Torque left for a while, and whatever. It doesn't matter. It's still a fun show, and I've enjoyed it. So kudos to the monkeys. Man.
There you go. Hey.
Kudos to the monkey. Hey. I'm a monkey.
Hey.
Yeah. All right. 2 more things, Tim. I'll try to keep them quick. One thing I know you could comment on. I will leave that for last.
Okay.
But, Timo, yesterday, my friend, in the space-time continuum, your friend and associate, Benjamin Harley, not only was accosted in the wrestling ring, but was accosted in his shop.
What?
By what I thought was a condor. Now, when it was, I don't care, Timo, when a bird flying at your face, I don't care if it's a parakeet, it looks like a condor or an eagle or something with talons coming at your face.
Hold on now. Your shop is still in a enclosed building, right?
Yes.
Okay. Are you going to explain to me how you saw a condor?
Yes.
Okay. Keep going.
I just
wanted to make sure. Okay.
I came up from the basement, Timo, in the safety of my shop.
Yeah.
As I'm walking into the back of my shop, what I thought might be a giant dragonfly became not a giant bird, but, a little, wasn't a robin, but it was a bird of some sort, Timo, flying around the back of my shop. And that's begun the great bird fight of 2018, Timo.
What the hell? Did you have your back door open to cool off the shop and a bird came in? Okay.
Flew in the back of my shop, my friend. And so here I am.
Harley versus the Spatsy.
I had a broom and I'm thinking, I'll get this bird. And the back of the shop, there's a side door there. And so the bird must come in the side door. And really, when I came in the back, he was flying around, but then he perched himself and pooped right on my heat press. So I grabbed the broom and I thought, well, I'll talk to him.
Talk some sense into him, right?
Yeah. I don't know much bird talk, but I thought or something would work.
Did you go,
I should have talked like a cat or something. But so, I went in there, broom in hand, and I thought, well, I'll just coax him out the door. Well, Timo, I got him towards the door, and he, for some odd reason, he decided to fly back at me, Timo. And I consider myself kind of a tough fella, not a super tough guy, but
you are a goalie. You should have been able to stop it.
Well, I was trying to get over to that way because I thought, I just put my goalie mask on, then I wouldn't be so scared. I was just afraid, I've seen The Omen 2, and I don't want to get my eyes poked out, Tim. I got a fear of getting my eyes poked out, and then get hit by a semi, too. Yeah. But, so I thought I'll creep around, and I did. I had him right towards the door, and then, like I said, it doesn't matter the size of the bird when it's flying at your face. So it comes right at me, and I hit the fly. I go down. I didn't want to hit it with the broom. I really didn't. So I hit the dirt. I hear a boom, and he disappeared. I thought, well, he couldn't have flown through the wall. I don't know where he went. So I thought maybe he knocked himself out. So I'm trying to continue because I got work to do.
Right.
So I thought, well, I'll tape out some screens. I'll do some stuff. I'll go back downstairs. I'll come back up. Hopefully he's gone. About 10 minutes later, here he comes again. He's back for more, Timo. So
did you have a Palmer moment where you went, what?
Yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah. What the hell is that? So, he came at me this time, Timo. I'm pretty nimble on my feet, I must say. Okay. So I went down, this time face down as he swooped at me. And, I'm still trying to talk to him. I'm like, come on, buddy. I'm pleading with him. I got work to do. I'm talking to a bird. I would have
killed him, but go ahead.
Well, it was coming to the point where I'm like, you're going to end up in the oven or I'm going to swing. Or he's going to, because he could have flown into the fan, and this fan we have has no cover. It would have looked like a murder scene.
It would have blown feathers.
And this is a high-powered fan. Oh, it would have been a murder scene, buddy. It would have been awful. So, anyways, I finally coaxed him. He flew around a couple times. I got him towards the door, and then, poor little buzzard. He went through the kitchen, came out into the front of the shop, and headed right for the front, which I have pretty big picture windows, and the door was open, but he decided to go right for the window. Bam! So then I went over as he's dizzy and kind of coaxed his butt out the door, and he flew. And I want to say he did get away. I would like to say the story ended with the car going by and hitting him or something after I got him out, but no, he did survive. And that son of a bitch, and it's not like the back area of the shop's not small, but it's not huge either.
Yeah.
And when a bird's flying around and there's things like, there's just a lot for him to crash into, and he's trying to,
you got derelict wildlife coming in your place, slowing down your workflow now. What else could happen to you? Jeez.
No, Timo, but that son of a gun wanted to rumble at first, I think. But, like I said,
where was the legend at in all this? Where was Billy at in all this? Taking cover?
Yeah, nowhere to be found.
I got you.
You never, never when that stuff happens.
No.
But good thing it wasn't a.
It didn't have like a little note on its foot, did it?
No,
it might have been trying to tell you something.
That's what I kept saying.
It was from 1812.
Yeah. We've been overrun.
Yeah.
Where are you?
Message for you, sir. It's from Matt Anthony. What the? Yeah.
There you go. Oh, Timo. Yeah. So, the great bird fight or war of 2018.
It was a draw, huh?
It was a draw. Yes.
Wow.
Man, I tell you what, though. Like I said, it doesn't matter. I swear, when that thing came at me, it did. It looked like a pterodactyl.
You need to put a stuffed bird in your shoulder as the potentate of hate from now on.
Right, I think so.
Tap your shoulder.
Wow.
Knock it off. Just knock it off. I dare you. Yeah.
Good gravy.
Wow.
Oh, man. But that was... I'll tell you what, Timo, it had my heart a-racing. It woke me up, that's for sure.
I bet it did, yeah. Did you get your work done after that?
Yeah, I did. It took me every bit of 20 minutes or so.
I'm sure, yeah.
That was awful.
It's like trying to get a fly out of your car.
Oh,
it's like, just leave. Yeah. You're not going to get anything out of this. Go.
I'm showing you the way.
Right.
And this is the thing, Timo. Here I am.
Didn't trust you.
Every time I'm going over by my new press to put a screen in, I'm holding the damn screen in front of my face, and then I'm thinking, well, the thing flies at you, he's going to peck right through the damn screen, and then you're going to have to make a new screen.
Right.
Oh, God. Yeah. But good times, Tim. Good times nonetheless.
Sure, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Last but not least, I didn't mean to go long on that, but it was fun. It was a good time.
Oh, yeah.
Timo sent me a little video.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the gentleman's name offhand. I know we have seen him on a few of those documentaries. But he had a Bigfoot documentary. Yes, he had. It was kind of funny how this guy, he went live, right? Uh-huh. And what he kept doing is he was showing the Patterson-Gimlin film, right? Yes.
Yeah.
But he was going back and forth between his computer in one room and then his widescreen TV in another room, which was kind of off.
Low budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, the guy had a very interesting find, right, Timo?
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to elaborate a little bit on what you saw?
He seems to think it's holding something.
Yes.
And then he seems to, and then someone else thought it was basically like wearing a purse. I mean, like strapped over its shoulder.
A merce.
Yes. Well, no, or it could be a youngin, like hanging off of it. I'm a little bit like, look, we've seen this footage, so I'll maybe look further and closer at its hand to see if it's holding something.
Yeah.
But I gotta that looked like it was digitally erased.
Yeah.
It did. I'm sorry, but it looked like there was something digitally erased in it looked like, am I wrong about that? And it's curious. It's curious to me.
Very curious. And then others, but he's like, well, see, I thought, like, no, not really. I don't see.
Right.
Because there was one point when he first started talking about it, I was like, that is interesting. It did look like something in his head. It did. It looked. And then I'm like, but then when he started doing the whole purse thing, that's when I was like, well, I don't know. Right. I don't know. I think that might just be pixelation at that point. I don't know. We're really getting too close to this thing.
Well, and that's the thing. It reminds me of like when you're working on artwork and you got to walk away from it, right?
Yeah.
And because you're seeing things that aren't there. And
it's too much, yeah.
Yeah. And then same thing.
Your mind's playing tricks on you.
Yes. It's just like, when you're mixing music or something, you got to walk away because you're starting to mix things that aren't there.
Sure.
You're starting to hear things that aren't there. That's what it kind of seemed like to me. But what kind of was odd about it is that is what it looked. It looked to me like it was something digitally erased to be prepared for something to be added.
Right.
That's what it kind of looked like to me a little bit. Now, I don't know. I just found it interesting. I thought it was like odd. And the guy was definitely looking at it, but it's like, look, it's only how many frames? I mean, what's there is there.
Yeah.
And on some level, it's like, it's more impressive to me when they can clean it up and see like the muscles and things like that. Like when they can actually show what they shot. And here's the other thing too, and I think we talked about this, and I was a little surprised that you didn't remember this and didn't know this, but for everybody that makes fun of that, does anybody realize that they went, reported what had happened, and brought people back with them to cast footprints?
Yeah, see that? I'm not sure that I knew that.
Yeah, and so what they did is they brought people back. They did all these measurements. They took they casted it. They did everything because people usually make fun of them because it's like, well, sure, you were shooting footage for a upcoming Bigfoot documentary or film.
Yeah.
So I think they kind of already had their ducks in a row a little bit. And here they are, they see one. What's so funny? They don't believe them because they found what they're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is not the irony of ironies.
It is.
Jesus Christ.
And that's the whole thing, Tim. I'm telling you and I could go out right now at Dermal Ridge and take a picture of a Bigfoot and no one would believe us.
Well,
not no one.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But it also, because, we haven't
proven it anymore.
And we have been talking about this a little more. And I've lived out here for, I don't know how many months now. It hasn't been even a year yet, that I've lived out here at Dermal Ridge. And I've told you, I said, when you actually live in the woods, I don't care if you're a biologist. I don't care if you're an expert going out in the field on the weekends. You got no fucking idea what you're hearing. Yeah. I don't care because I am a dedicated avid smoker. I am on my balcony a lot. I'm in the front, and just the seeds that fall off trees, they make a sound that sounds like Hulk Hogan punching Andre the Giant. I mean, it's loud. Yeah. It makes my dog perk up and my cat and look, and stuff.
Yeah,
and
they hit the back of this at the shop. They hit the back of the roof sometimes. And I swear to God, I've hit the floor because I thought fucking something went off.
Absolutely,
it's a little acorn.
Absolutely. And trees, they just fall apart. Those are branches. Breaking and stuff. It's just, I don't buy the noises. Last night, I heard something that sounded like an alien invasion. And I heard it all night. It was like, I'm like, what the hell is that?
I go check that.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like an elephant or something odd in the woods. That sounds digital. What the hell is that?
Right.
So I hear stuff that is insane.
Bigfoot having a rave, man.
Yeah. I hear stuff that's insane. I mean, I really do. And sound travels odd at night as opposed to day. Yeah. I also think that's why people go out at night because sound does travel further and they're hearing shit. And they're just hearing things that I'm not buying any of it. But point is, the more I live out here, the more that the eyewitness testimony and that footage becomes more relevant to me.
Yeah.
Because it's still the thing that I can't get past it. It's like, yes, it looks like a dude in a monkey suit, but then it's like, again, I've said this for years and years. What would it look like?
Right.
It's a monkey on 2 feet. Your brain is going to go, hey, Mac, it's a 1970s King Kong. Of course it is. Of course it's going to look weird and fake at first. And your brain, even a scientist will tell you that when you see something you don't understand, your brain does play tricks on you.
Yeah.
So it actually tries to pull you back into reality. Your brain is telling you you're seeing something that exists. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And if you see something that doesn't exist, sometimes your brain can exit it out of your vision. This is a fact. This is a proven fact. This happens to people and stuff. So I'm just saying, like, I am not ever buying anything that people hear things in the woods because of what I've heard out here. And what I've heard out here has been way more blood curdling than any audio we've ever heard. Heard. I mean, you were out here the one night, we obviously heard those coyotes.
Yeah.
And there's other things out here. I'm telling you, they make very, intimidating noises during the day and at night, but especially at night. Especially at night, they make them. So I ain't buying any of it anymore. I'm learning that. Wait a minute.
You mean you're not going to listen to Matt?
No.
Moneymaker anymore?
No,
you're not going to take his advice?
No, I'm not. Now, let me tell you something very interesting, that the only time you ever hear people who live in a wooded area give their stories is when they hear something like in their yard or like in their window screeching and screaming at them, or they've seen something. And it's that visual. It's that visual that I believe in, because it's hard to see things in the woods to begin with. We've had deer standing right in the front yard, and Shay goes after him. We didn't see him. Been in the front yard.
Right.
I mean, they're right there. We don't see them because they're not moving. They're standing right there, and it's not that thick in front of the house. And Shay goes phew, like that, and then they run. Then we see them. So when you do see something, you see it, you know. Right. And I've always said, and I'll say it again: a bear is scary enough. Harley, if I saw a bear, I'd be grabbing a camera out here. You know what I mean? I really would be like, a bear, fuck, a bear. I wouldn't go, a bear. How can I twist this into a Bigfoot? No, are you kidding?
Make this look like Bigfoot.
Yeah. So, but, and their tracks do look very similar. I mean, bear tracks, and I mean, I've seen it now. I've seen not that I've seen them here, but I've seen enough of the tracks to understand they step in their own footprints, and they do make them longer. And they do look like people and stuff. So I'm becoming more rational, to be honest with you, living out here. Yeah. It's not that I've lost my interest in it and stuff. And I still ain't calling a bunch of people liars. I'm not doing it. No. You know, so, but anyway, it's just interesting to me, you know, that I live out here, and my whole thing with this, and I've always had a problem with the sounds, but I've always puffed my chest out and, I'm an audio engineer. Well, anybody that sticks a microphone in anybody's face can be an audio engineer. It's not that as much as now I am out here and I hear shit that I'm like, this is the stuff like Monday through Friday that Bobo never hears. Yeah. This is the stuff that's here all the time. It's just not Bigfoot. There are lots of animals that make really creepy noises. I mean, you know.
That's a squatch.
Oh, Ben Harley, the animal kingdom is mute, and we all know it. We all know it is, so it's got to be a Bigfoot. Anyway, is that all you got? You got that, and then
that's all I got.
All right, let's get to our official films. We're gonna get more Bigfoot talk. The birds and the Bigfoots. We're gonna get Hitchcock. We're gonna get more Bigfoot talk in next week when we have the Fresh Prince of Darkness, Mr. Mark Diamond on the show, talking some Primal Rage.
Yeah.
But we'll have that up next week. Let's get to our official film so we can get the hizzy out of here. Right?
Okay. What we got?
That's country street. It's back. That's man. I'm from the back roads. I'm not from the streets. I'm from the back roads. You know. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Let's go in chronological order. First up this week, our official films, Mr. Ben Harley. We have Devil Girl from Mars.
Devil Dude from Mars.
Yes, the Ben Harley story. Yes. All right, let me get you a quick storyline synopsis here. Again, 1954, Devil Girl from Mars. Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, this is kind of a funny storyline synopsis. This is pretty good. All right, here we go. An uptight, leather-clad female alien armed with a ray gun and accompanied by a menacing robot comes to Earth to collect Earth's men as breeding stock. So it's kind of like the opposite of Mars Needs Women.
Yeah, yep.
It's kind of like the opposite of that. Okay, this is a British film. These people are at an inn. A British inn.
They all are.
Yeah.
Don't these all start and end at an inn?
They kind of do, because I think here's the thing. And you're right, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay? I mean, a fact. I'm going to tell you why, because we started watching this, and about 10 minutes into the movie, I looked over at Angie, I said, this was shot at Shepperton.
Okay.
And at the end of the movie, filmed at Shepperton Studios. So it's the same place they were making the Hammer and Amicus stuff and all that. There's only two affordable. There was Bray Studios and Shepperton. So this was Shepperton.
Okay.
So that's why they're all taking place, because they all have to use the same sets. So,
but yes, drink and all. But
right, yeah. Oh, the bars look very familiar, because I believe that's probably the same bar they were using in Night of the Big Heat. That's at an inn also.
I did too, because I started to believe, because of these movies we've been watching, that every house now in England, when you walk in, there's just a bar in the front.
Yeah. I think there is, actually. I've been there.
I mean, a bar, not something where you put a couple glasses. A bar,
right? Right. So yes, it's British, of course. Starring a Hazel Court, the Hammer Scream Queen. I really like Hazel Court. She was the a model, I guess, that was staying there. Some kind of famous lady that was staying there. I really do like her a lot. Patricia Laughlin played the Devil Girl from Mars. And then we got Hugh McDermott for the Harold Handsome Pants role in the film. Yes. So basically, let me give you my little quick one. I'll get you into this.
Sure, man.
Here's the first thing. Again, I don't think I've seen this at least all the way through. Okay. I think I've seen parts of it. So here's my take on it. Spaceship lands, encases an area in a force field. Yes. And then the Devil Girl picks on folks in an inn.
Yes.
That's what I got. What do you think, Mr.
And there's, if you are a fan of spaceship landing, walking to house, walking back to spaceship, walking back to house, back to spaceship, back to house, back to spaceship. This is your movie. This is your movie. Because, man, there's about almost as much walking as The Hobbit or Halloween 2 zombie style. Yeah, it's a lot of walking in this film. And it's not that the UFO is that far from the house.
No,
it's not that far from the house. Okay, so the UFO lands, and said woman, depending on which way they shoot her, it looks kind of like the guy I was just watching in Escape from Alcatraz. Okay. That was, what's that guy's name?
I don't know which one you're talking about.
Anyways, but so I was troubled, Timo, because I've seen the same thing, like bits and pieces of this movie.
Yeah.
And I've seen the poster art for years, and I love the poster art for this film.
Oh, it's cool. Yeah.
But the Devil Girl was a little let down.
She looks a little bit like Merlin from Excalibur.
Yes. And she's too strict for me. A little too strict. Just too strict. But
you're getting sick in your mind. I know what you're taking. Yeah. Go ahead.
And also, Timo, and just like a few of these movies that we've watched here lately, a lot of stuff happens and these aren't real long movies, okay? But things happen in a short period of time. Right. People fall in love very fast.
Yeah, they sure do. Yeah.
Because the devil lady wants to take the one gentleman to Mars. Right. But your girlfriend, the model, she doesn't want him to go because she loves him.
Yes.
You just met him 25 minutes ago, man. I love him. Well, he was a looker. All right. I'm going to give him that. Yeah. So I can't,
Hey, if Hazel Court came up to me when I was single and said, I love you, it's I love you too. I'm in love with you. As a matter of fact, here's my bank account number. Yes.
Right. But there's some a little bit of different stuff. Like there's a gentleman who you probably know his name, Tim. What's the slick-haired guy? He's kind of on the run. Isn't he, right? He's on the run.
Yeah, that guy was Peter Reynolds. And here's the problem I have with Peter Reynolds. I thought when he showed up, he had been like hacking his way through the countryside, explaining the poof of hair in the front of his head. And then I went to IMDb, and his headshot has the same poof, realizing that is his style. I am not down with his style, but no, actually, I do not know. I don't think I was very aware of that guy before. I was just more scared by his hair. Yeah, he has a little secret, and he's on the run. And then the one girl who's kind of like the barmaid at the inn, she knows him.
She knows him.
Yeah,
she likes him.
Yes,
he liked her at one time, but he's got something else cooking. He married somebody else, so. There's a little bit of intrigue going on between that, and the devil girl wanting dudes, and they're hiding poof hair up in the like in some room, and then Poof Hair actually gets out at one point because the Devil Girl takes everybody out to show the menacing robot, which is the lowest moving robot.
That robot is about as frightening as a loaf of bread. It looks like
a Norelco shaver, one of those like original.
To me, it looked like a slot machine giving birth to flower pots. It could be the inspiration for the typewriter in Sesame Street.
There you go.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's not menacing at all. And it takes a long time to get moving. And you have to have a remote control.
They have some pretty frightening close-ups of its feet walking toward the house, as you say. Yeah.
Those are frightening feet.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because at one point she's like, "Come here," to everybody except Poof Hair because he's up in the wherever they put him in a room.
Yes,
the furthest room from anybody. They hit him up there.
Right.
And it looks like the room that you go to and you don't come back from.
Yeah, right.
Like the room that we saw at the Stone House.
Yes.
Like that.
Well, considering it's Shepperton Studios, I'm pretty sure it's the same room as the Curse of the Werewolf, where the woman gets thrown in with the crazy old dude who has his way with her forever. Yeah, that's what it looked like. It is what it looked like. Yeah, so it probably was the same room.
I swear I've seen that room before, yes.
And that was not even in movies.
No, exactly. Yeah. But so when she takes them all out to show them the menacing robot, it's funny because she gets the remote control out and it opens the door, which I thought it was opening the door. I kept thinking, okay, well, something's going to happen.
Right.
Something's going to happen. And about 3 minutes go by and finally the door comes open. And then the robot comes down and Poof Hair comes out of the window to come down to see a little bit more.
Yeah.
But actually, no, I'm sorry, Timo. Before Poof Hair comes out, a little kid comes out the window next to Poof Hair's room. And I was like, holy crap, I forgot about that little kid. That little kid was like in the first 30 seconds of the movie, and then they just forgot about it, like completely. I mean, what is it about that time period and we see movies just like this, like we put the kid to bed, aliens invade or monsters show up or creepy McCreepertons show up and call you on the phone, but nobody checks the children, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Alien invasion. And that's all right. Johnny's asleep.
Right.
I completely forgot about this kid.
Yeah.
I was like, who's the little guy coming out the window? Oh, wait, it's the kid. I was like, because I thought Poof Hair, he's a little smaller. So him and Poof Hair go out, and then that lady sees, and she like blows up one of the barn or something, and then basically scares everybody into staying in the house.
Well, wasn't the little kid the first person she was going to take?
Yeah,
she was going to take, and then they kept going through the whole cast, like, "Oh, take me, take me, take me." Everybody's trying to be
inside of the whirly, whatever that thing was. It looked like a blender. Show me the inside of the blender.
One of the funny things is, I guess the main guy's name is Mr. Carter. They kept calling him Mr. Carter, and I'm sorry, but with that British accent. With that British accent, all I could keep hearing is, "Yo, Mr. Carter."
Yeah, Mr. Carter.
I looked over to Angio and they kept saying Mr. Carter, and I was like, I keep wanting to say, "I gotta know." You know, I mean, it's like I was like, God, it's something Mr. Carter. We did get, I tell you what though, we did get a Noodly McStrudely fight. Again. Yeah.
Poof Hair got a whooping.
Well, right at the end there, did you notice when they came down the stairs, the guy thinks he's an airplane and lands on the guy? Did you see his arms go straight out? I'm not sure what that finishing maneuver answers to, but I bet it could be like an airplane spinneroonie or something. I'm like, what did that do precisely with his? He did, you know what I'm talking about? He like went all like stiff and God.
The whole thing is just that whole fight is funny. It's hilarious.
Definitely Noodly and McStrudely. Definitely.
But I don't know. I will say, Timo, the only thing I really found very compelling about the whole film was at the end, the explosion at the end, I thought was quite nice. I thought it was a nice touch. That was about it.
That was the old liquid.
The explosion of the,
that was the old paint or whatever in water when they shoot it. That always works great.
Love it.
Always works.
Great. Yeah.
They do that in everything from Godzilla movies to Poltergeist. There's a reason that was done so many times because it works. It works great. It was very good. You know, actually what's funny about it is that we're making fun of this movie, but the whole time I'm like, you know, this is made so much better with so much more class for a movie called Devil Girl from Mars.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it really is. It's not that bad. I mean, it's not that long. My only problem with it is that there's too much romance. There's too many people falling in love or been in love and trying to get back into love. And they stopped the show too many times to let these people air out their love for each other.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a whole lot of time for that in an Alien Invasion, Mr. Ben Harley. Call me crazy, you know.
You really don't need it.
Yeah, that's just too much. I get it. I get whenever like a guy is going to go on a ship and get taken away to Mars and someone wants to profess their love. I get that. But there's more. There's more than that, you know, going on. So, and the old codgers were kind of funny in it. They weren't too bad.
No.
It was made a lot better. I mean, the spaceship, it's a little funny looking. I mean, but not, I mean, it's not as bad as Ed Wood or something like that.
Oh,
they got some good little miniatures and stuff in it. It's okay. I mean, honestly, like it's kind of fun to make fun of, like when you're watching, and because it's made well. And then some of the goofy parts, they just, it's goofy. Just leave it there. You know, it's fine. I don't know. I did enjoy watching it. If it was an hour and 40 minutes, I don't think I'd be into this. But it's like an hour and 18 minutes or something like that. You know, so to me, it was enjoyable. But I'm going to give it just a mild grape ape up. It was fun. It was made, probably because it was made pretty well. And I was actually I was a little impressed by how bad it didn't look and how bad it wasn't, as opposed to being amused by how bad it was. I mean, the movie is called Devil Girl from Mars, and it's not that much different than a lot of other alien movies, you know, coming down and stuff. So I'm just going to give it a mild grape ape up. What about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a lukewarm one. Lukewarm. Yeah, it had its moments. There's too much back and forth between that and the ship, and I don't know. I guess I was a little discouraged that my devil girl looked more like a devil dude at times.
She was a little masculine at times.
I'm not trying, you know, like, come on. Hey, I like my devil girls.
Well, they had Hazel Court. That barmaid wasn't bad either, you know. There was plenty of eye fodder for us fellas, I thought, you know.
Girl, you know what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, you know, for Mars, she wasn't bad. You know?
No, she wasn't green, I guess.
And actually, from a distance, like Mars, she wasn't that bad, you know? So
definitely from a distance.
Yeah. So let's move on, Mr. Barhow, to the next official film.
Yeah.
From 1960. Mr. Ben Harley, 1960. You know, it's funny. I do believe this is another British film.
Yes, I think
so it's a British. Yeah. It's a Tea and Crumpets week.
British invasion.
Tea and Crumpets week here on the
Cheerio and Pip Pip and all that.
Here the Tim and Harley show. So from 1960, we have not Circus of Pain, we have Circus of Horror.
Yes, in honor of
Circus of Pain. Yes. Yeah. Let me get you a storyline synopsis. Here we go.
Yeah.
A deranged plastic surgeon, Anton Diffring, takes over a traveling circus, then transforms horribly disfigured young women into ravishing beauties and forces them to perform in his 3-ring extravaganza. But when the resculpted lovelies try to escape the clutches of the obsessed doctor, they begin to meet with sudden and horrific accidents. Now the trapeze is swinging, the knives are flying, the wild animals are loose, and the grisliest show on Earth is about to begin. All right. You know, here's the thing. You got to really kind of watch this. It doesn't hold your hand through the plot, and it looks like it does, but if you don't really pay attention, you're lost quick. You're lost really quick. Like, whoa, hold on. Like in the beginning, they got a woman with her face melting off, a guy driving, going over a cliff, 2 other people that are just standing there looking like their husband and wife, but apparently they're brother and sister, even though they don't act like that through any of the film at all. You're really like, woo. I walked to grab a bottle of wine in the beginning of the film and came back and had to have Angie talk to me for 5 minutes off the ledge. Wait, who is this? How did this? And then she was trying to explain to me, I go, no. So who was the person in the beginning? And she's like, they didn't say it. Good. That's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. They didn't say who it was. But just a little convoluted, a little jumbled up. We'll put a little bit.
No, you're right.
Yeah, acted well, and the production value is great and everything. But that's just to start off with. You got to really kind of hone in on this. Let's get this out of the way, too. I love performing monkeys, and they are hilarious.
Yes,
just want to get that out of the way right now. You can protest in front of my house for whatever fucked up reason, because you can't, monkeys are in captivity. They're being abused. But let me tell you something. When they're on a string and an Italian person is twirling that little thing with the music, they're hilarious. I appreciate that.
Poo, yes. It's not at you.
Yes.
They're hilarious.
They're hilarious. So anyway, yes, Anton Diffring from Where Eagles Dare, The Man Who Could Cheat Death. Have we reviewed that yet? I know I sent it to you. I don't think we did yet. Okay, so this is I think of kind of a similar type film. And then Fahrenheit 451, the original one. A very stern-looking fellow with piercing eyes.
He sure is stern
that way. He is a brilliant, I guess, plastic surgeon of some sort. Gets in trouble with not doing his shit right. Tries to escape from medical police or whatever.
Yeah. He runs over a constable.
Yeah, and then he gets into a wreck himself, and not unlike Superman, transforms his face into his same face, and then nobody can recognize him anymore.
He just shaved his beard. Basically.
I'm just like, was that the difference? I didn't even know he had
shaved his beard.
Okay. So now he is in hiding, and he's running with his assistant and his assistant sister who's in love with him.
Yeah,
weird.
He treats them like shit.
Yeah, weird setup. Well, they happen to be driving, and they ask this little girl for directions, and she just happens to have a mangled face.
Oh yeah.
Her dad, who happens to be Mr. Donald Pleasance with a full head of hair.
Heavy on the drink.
Yes. He owns a circus. So basically, they want to use the circus for a front for Anton Diffring to continue his experiments. Because Mr. Ben Harley, before 1970, everything was about experiments. Experiments were never a good thing. When anybody in a movie was doing experiments, something bad was going to happen. Okay, so basically what he's doing is he's taking, as just kind of jump forward a little bit, he gets the circus himself. So we'll talk about it here in a minute. Yeah, he gets it from Donald Pleasance, thanks to a bear. And
bear attack.
Moving forward here. Yeah. And so he runs the circus, actually runs it really well. Now, how he finds time for his experiments running this big circus, because the circus, when he meets everybody, is like nothing. It's a dirt circus. And then when he gets a hold of it, it becomes like Ringling Brothers.
Yes.
At this point. So what he does is he populates the circus with his patients. So he finds scarred people. Now, the movie starts in like 1947, right after the war. Okay, so a lot of people had scars and stuff from the bombings in London and stuff. So there's a little bit of history. You know, they're taking something that really was a problem in England, and they were using it into a horror film, basically. So he takes all these people that are scarred up and stuff, makes them beautiful. And does he make them beautiful? Yeah, and then he
kisses all on them a lot. It's a lot of making out.
He hits on all of them. Yeah, it's a little sleazy.
Yeah.
But what happens then is these people, once they're beautiful again, they start wanting to fly the coop. They want to fly the coop, and when they want to fly the coop,
he doesn't like that.
He doesn't like it because he's a megalomaniac. B, he's worried about getting found out.
Yes.
Because he's clearly looks so different now, Ben Harley. No one could recognize him.
How would you ever recognize that guy?
Yeah.
Shave his beard.
So what'd you think? Now, I have seen this film before a couple times. What'd you think of the 1960 Circus of Horrors?
Not too bad, Timo. I did like, the gentleman, the main character, because he is a jerk. He's just a jerk. But boy, he's got it with the ladies. But then again, if you think about it, ladies like their looks, and
I like ladies' looks,
and I like ladies, and I like looking at ladies.
Yes,
but I could imagine how hard it would be, to be disfigured like that. And so he does. He preys on these women, and then he beautifies them, and then they're in love with him. You know what I mean? They feel like they owe him, and man, like I said, he's just all out. Like I thought I was gonna get mono at one point because there's so much making out in this movie.
Yeah,
everywhere you went. You know? They even get there's a reporter that kind of gets hip to him, right, Timo? And then he comes in.
He's getting scrutinized through almost the whole movie. Yeah. He's got cops, reporters, everybody. Yep. Well, the thing is that, I mean, obviously, as he's picking his performers off when they want to leave, it's not like he's doing this in quiet. It's happening in front of, like, he has circus acts sabotaged and stuff, so there's bad accidents in front of whole crowds. So the circus is actually known almost like a NASCAR race where you're waiting for someone to die. And it's actually causing those
cursed people to show up.
Yeah, it's causing people to show up. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But then they bring in newspaper reporter guy or whatever, and I think he's smooching somebody in the first couple minutes too. He's smooching. He gets
the little girl from the beginning.
Yeah. So, but I liked the intrigue about it, like the way they were doing things, and man, I felt bad for Chief Wahoo McDaniels though. There's a scene where he's throwing knives, and they
Chief Wahoo McDaniels.
Yeah, wasn't they do a thing? Right. Yeah. And that girl gets, the Indian throws, or Chief Wahoo throws the knife
throwing thing. Yeah.
Oh man, it gets her right in the throat.
Yeah.
And they don't show it until like after, but like, wow, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Very intense. But like I said, he does that well as far as people coming up dead and things like that.
Well, and a little tidbit there. I didn't really find anything out about this, but if you go on Amazon Prime, this movie's on Amazon, and it's about 4 minutes shorter. And I'm pretty sure there's an edited version. This was a pretty hardcore movie for 1960.
Yes.
And it's in color. Do not underestimate what 1960 audiences thought about a horror film in color with that blood and stuff. This was different. Yeah, this was much different. I mean, we're desensitized to a lot of things that people were not in 1960 in popular culture, So that was pretty tough. It's a pretty rough, not really a murder mystery as much as like a slasher type, like a proto slasher film almost in a way. A little bit of medical deviance, medical horror, and then that. There's a little bit too much repetitive circus performance.
Yeah.
But remember, these movies tend to have that problem. They do. Yeah. And this is not the worst I've seen, because at least these are part of the plot. They're part of the suspense, because you really never know when someone's going to get picked off. And you do.
Sure.
But you're not sure. You're not, when you're watching, you're not sure. Is that person going to die? Well, they telegraph every murder in this movie. Yeah. Believe me, they do. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you don't know that until the movie's over, that they've telegraphed everything. So there's a bit of suspense in all of it. And as a fella, not too terribly hard to watch chicks swinging upside down in those outfits and stuff. And I'm just being a pig. That's all. I'm just being a pig. So don't get on me. I'm just being a chauvinist pig. Yeah. But yeah. And Ben Harley, can we just agree to agree that the movie has the most, where the hell did that come from, and worst gorilla suit I've ever seen. The gorilla isn't even there until it needs to be there. And then all of a sudden, it's only there when it needs to be there. I don't know if they ever show it from the front. I can't remember. It's the worst gorilla. Ben Harley, there used to be local television commercials for a furniture company, and their tagline was, "No monkey business." And they had a guy in a monkey outfit with a Gilligan hat on. And that was chilling compared to this monkey in this movie.
Oh, no.
Come on. It's the worst. Tell me it's the worst. It's the worst.
It was pretty bad.
Three Stooges. It's worse.
There was that bear that beat up Donald Pleasence was pretty bad too.
Well, at least he spliced it with the real bear.
Yeah. Well, what was funny with that too, I could tell, like, because when he was over there and he's poking at it, as soon as it started to move around, you're like, oh God, that guy. You can tell it's a guy's head in there. And
it's a kind of blanket
shifting. It's like, hey,
don't mess with my blanket fort.
Oh my goodness, man. Timo, good times. So, I don't know. For the most part, it did keep me. It kept me interested.
Oh, it's a good movie.
I liked the guy. I thought he was definitely smarmy enough to.
Yeah.
Jackass,
Anton Diffring is great. Yeah, he's great. Yeah. Well, look, I mean, to me, this movie, yes, it's good in the same way as A Devil Girl from Mars was kind of good. And then it's called Circus of Horrors. Okay, it's a little bit better. It looks good. It's shot really well. The acting is tremendous in it. It's very good. The women are absolutely drop dead gorgeous in this movie.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And they show a lot of them. And I do appreciate that. And I'm not even really being that scuzzy. They're actually very beautiful and very and but it's not like exploitive as much as that's the plot. The plot is he's making these people beautiful, and man, do they find some beautiful people. It was directed by Sidney Hayers, who did Burn Witch Burn, which is a great movie. But then again, he did some cheesy TV stuff like Knight Rider, A-Team, Hunter.
Hey, you take that back.
T.J. Hooker, Airwolf,
18.
Werewolf.
Oh,
he directed Manimal.
Manimal.
The whole show comes to a stop.
Crashing.
The show just went out actually with a whimper. It was just gone. Yeah.
Now you went and did it.
Yeah, right. Well, hey, he was getting paid, so he did what he did. Yeah. But Burn Witch Burn's a great movie, though. We did review that. That's a great movie. So
it is good.
But no, it's a fine film. It's a little. I mean, I can tell you in 1960, this is, I'm sure, controversial.
For sure.
By any level. And it could still be edited pretty good for television, even today. But it is very well made. And it's a pretty interesting story. It's just throwing a lot of stuff at you in short bursts.
Sure.
Sort of like what you were talking about with Devil Girl from Mars, but this is way, way a lot. This is a lot.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot going on.
You can get through half this movie without really knowing who people are, if you don't really pay attention. But I'm going to give this one a great bait up. I actually enjoyed it. I've seen it before, and it holds up for me. I like it because it doesn't really cheat. It doesn't really hold back. Yeah, the animals look silly. I mean, the fake animals look silly and stuff.
That's okay.
It is okay. It happens. It happens. But I'm going to give this one a great bait up. What are you thinking about, Mr.
Harley? Same, but not quite super high grade bait up. I did enjoy it. I thought as far as the movie and the intrigue and all that, really good. As far as a horror movie, but then again, have to look through it through the prism of that time period, and like you're saying, there was a lot going on. It was pretty. There was some heavy duty stuff.
Well, same here.
There was a few scenes. Yeah. Oh yeah, there was a few scenes, and I'm not trying to be a chauvinist pig either, but like he's sitting in there, with his one of the different girls he's made look better over the years, and she's got her top off, not showing her breast, but she's laying there on him, and you can see her full back and her curvature.
Yes. Yep.
And then this guy just walks in, and it's not like, she jumps up and puts, no, here he is talking while that guy's, and then she just kind of rolls over, and I'm like, whoa, that was pretty risque for that time, period. So,
it's very risque. Yeah, very risque.
Yeah, so, and I did like some of the I don't want to say the killings or whatever, some of the death scenes and things like that. I thought they did well. Were
they're creative. They were creative, yes, and you didn't really know how they were going to go, and that was interesting because it wasn't like you knew exactly how this performance was going to get screwed up, causing death. Like when the gal was on the rope, swinging around in the rope, she had the one rope performance where she did all the upside down. Then she puts a hangman's noose around her and does this deal where she swings around with the hangman's noose on the back of her neck, not the front of her throat.
Yeah.
You thought for sure it was going to crack her neck or something. That's not how it went down. So there were some nice little surprises like that. And yeah, showing the woman on the knife throwing thing. Oh boy, was she a looker too, by the way. Yipes. Mm-hmm. Oh, good gravy. Ooh, yive. Ooh, gee whiz. Even Angio said, I think they're trying to make her boobs pop out of her top. I'm like,
yeah, there was a feeling they were trying to do that.
Like, stop that. Stop talking like that. You know? Watch now.
What are you trying to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, it's not a huge Great Bape Up, just like a normal one. I just enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too, buddy.
I mean, I
did too.
Yeah.
I did too. And it's just like I said, I'm glad we did it, and especially in honor of the great Circus of Pain.
Yes.
And their match just coming out, and so it was fun. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate you doing that for me. So I appreciated that too, and it made me enjoy it that much more.
I'm sure.
So,
yeah.
So
there's a sad clown in that one too. Real sad clown, and I kept wondering why they kept showing the sad
Norm
clown.
Waver?
Yeah.
Randy Shane. My chance. Sorry, Tim.
Yeah. Well, no, I kept wondering why they were showing that sad clown, and then he ended up being something. He ended up being like a little minor. There's a lot of little like minor subplots going all over the place in this movie.
Yeah,
but it was still fun to watch, even if you couldn't keep up with it much. But
no, I enjoyed it. It was fun, Tim.
It wasn't slow.
It is what it is.
Was not slow.
No.
So not at all, especially for 1960. This is blazing fast movie.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot going on, and I knew we were in for something when at the beginning too, when he ran over oh crap!
The Bobby
constable, Bobby the constable.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, wait a second, now this is a little different. And now, Tim, maybe he didn't shave his beard off, because I think what happened is when he in that car crash, which was a pretty good stunt.
Yeah,
the car's going down. Okay, it's a model, but then they show a close up of him in the car, and then it's like he's riding like a coffin of flame. Like, you know what I mean? It's a coffin of flame. And then,
he must have been carrying kerosene home for the winter or something.
So I'm going to have to take it back to him. I don't think he shaved his beard off. I think it melted off.
It might have, yes.
Yeah, it was bad. So, but yeah. I'm going to stick with you, Timo. Great Bape Up. Did enjoy it. I think for people who are fans of truists or purists, like you say, Timo, truists, whatever truists mean. I don't know. Some from 1812. Yeah. So, I think this is one they would like to watch.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah. So, all right, well, a little bit more mild, lukewarmy kind of Great Bapes Up for Devil Girl from Mars. It's a little creakier and everything, but there's some stuff that's fun in there. And then Circus of Horrors is definitely we think at least a better horror film, more entertaining, a little bit faster paced, a little more engaging. And I tell you what, I don't know who was playing the animals in those movies, but they were drinking. They were definitely drinking. So, but well, good times with Ben Harley. Next week again, we are going to have our buddy Mr. Mark Diamond from the Dwarves, the Fresh Prince of Darkness, on to talk a little bit about Primal Rage. I do believe you're going to try to get on Primal Rage too, because, ladies and gentlemen, we do enjoy the Bigfoot stuff, and there is actually a worthwhile Bigfoot movie to talk about. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
I mean,
can you believe it?
It's not the greatest thing I've ever seen. It's not the worst, but just the fact it's worth talking about. We usually have to stop the show for about half a year talking about something like this because it's so rare.
Right.
Yeah. So we're going to discuss that a little bit, and everybody's going to give their 2 cents next week, so that should be kind of fun. So stay tuned for that. And until next week, Mr. Ben Harley, stay spooky, and we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Timo and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com, your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.